the number of rooms on the one side, small groups. So 5 rooms are required. So if you have a very small group, say you're only doing 5 rooms, if anyone cancels and you fall below the 5 rooms that are required, the others are going to lose the promo code that no longer qualifies. So that code falls off the bookings, meaning that there's going to be a balance due. So keep that in mind if you have a very small group. And on the flip side of that, if you have a larger group and the hotel has a maximum, if you're starting very close to that and your group grows in size, they could potentially have you switch it over to a contract, and you don't want to do that. So if you see a hotel that says the group max is 30 and you are already starting and you already have 27 confirmed rooms, you might want to consider doing a contract right off the bat instead. So definitely just watch the numbers. Take that into consideration when you're starting, when you're, just getting started with the group in the first place. The other thing is pricing can fluctuate. These are, again, booked as FIT reservations. Airfare fluctuates in price all the time. I think you all know that. Hotels do too, not as often as airfare, but we do know that hotels change pricing occasionally. Sales happen and things like that. So the price is not going to be locked in. That can fluctuate, especially if you're not booking them all at the same time. Support happens through the call center, normal channels of support. So call, chat, and email, and that support page on the top right-hand corner. And we will go through the request process and everything like that. So we will go there next under that groups drop down. When you're ready to move forward with requesting a group, you're just going to click on that request. Select your brand. So we'll choose Apple Vacations, and your group type is flexible groups. Nicole just mentioned, feel free to put any questions here in the chat. I do have the chat open. So yeah, if you have questions as we go through, I will see those and I can answer them real time. So on the form, this is where you're basically just asking for the promo code. So fill out the requested information, name your group. I always say be specific. If it's, a birthday party, we see a lot of those, like 40th, 50th birthday bashes, wedding groups, things like that. I think a lot of advisors like to incorporate the name of that type of thing into the group name. We then include that in the name of the promo code, the destination. If there is an occasion, again, wedding groups, corporate meeting incentive, anniversary vow renewal. If there's no specific occasion, you're just going to put social, family, leisure. Again, if it's like a birthday thing or a bachelor or bachelorette party, we see a lot of that too. If there's an occasion date, and then your departure date and length of stay, that does not have to be the same for everybody. You can have a group, where some are doing 7 nights, but others can only do 3 or 4 nights. Just put your earliest arrival date and the longest length of stay, so the promo code is built to cover all of it. Approximate number of rooms and your hotel choice. Again, with approximate number, we just need to know your best guess. We know that groups change in size. You might think you're going to book 10 and you actually book 15, which is great. Or you only end up booking 6. That happens all the time. And then your lead traveler information. If there's any additional details that you want to provide, you can. This isn't mandatory. We don't need to know the room categories you're booking. Again, you're just booking what's available. So you can leave that blank if you want to. And then just click on submit. And within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to receive an email from the Groupease team with your promo code. There's also going to be information on what the cutoff date is. It depends on the hotel. We have to report groups to each hotel by a certain date. They all have different rules. Some of it's 50 days, some of it's 65. So there will be a booking cutoff date. So they'll let you know what that date is where you have to have everything booked by. And you can start booking the reservations, but you don't have to wait for the code to start booking the reservations. You can actually go back and add this promo code to existing bookings. And that really comes in handy if you ever have a scenario where, so say it's, it's October right now. So say last month in September, I booked 4 reservations. It's only 4 bookings. It was not a group at that point. But now in October, I have another family that wants to join them. Well, now I have 5. I have 5 rooms. They are now a group. Now today I can request this promo code and add it to my new booking and go back and add it to the 4 that I booked last month. So that's kind of an extra perk. But the one thing to mention with that is we cannot stack promo codes. So if those old bookings already had a promo code on them, you cannot add that because we can only do one promo code per reservation. Whenever that's the case, whether it's a new booking or an existing booking, always give them the better promo code. So if Apple Vacations just has like a public code available. So usually the end of October, we always do an early kind of Black Friday promo code. I'm guessing we'll do it this year. I don't know for sure, but the Black Friday promo code, I think it takes off up to $400 per reservation. So that code is always going to be better than the Groupease code. Give them the better code, but make sure that when you book the reservation under your group, that you email the Groupease department to let them know that they are part of your group so that they may have that reservation number and they can make sure that they are counted as part of the group. So when they report that to the hotel, they're counted as, again, for any kind of inclusions that they're receiving. If they're getting any complimentary rooms or upgrades, it's usually, you get a complimentary room for every 10 rooms booked or every 8 rooms booked, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure everything is counted. So just make sure that the group team is aware because there's no way that we would know it's part of the group unless they either have the promo code on it or you physically let them know. There's a question in the chat about what is the flex pay fee. I think that was something that was on the about groups. So let me just pop back in there real quick. Under payment plan option, so flex pay is a monthly pay option that clients have when you send a payment link to the client. And I'm not sure, not every agency uses this, so I'm gonna let the owner or trainer circle back to this if it's not something you guys are able to use. But in a booking, there's a payment link, and you can send that to the client where they can either make a payment on the booking or they can apply for flex pay. FlexPay is a third-party loan company that we work with that if the client wants to apply for a loan, they basically fill out an application by clicking the link. FlexPay is the company. They pay for their Apple Vacations booking, and then the client makes monthly loan payments for 1 year back to FlexPay with interest. So it's basically like a travel loan. Your hands are not really involved in it at all. Like if they were to default or anything like that, there's information if you click from a booking where it shows really quick. Let me just open up a reservation because I don't want to explain this wrong. Hang on one second. Let's just open up a reservation really quick.
I can also help field that one while you're looking, Kim.
Yeah, go ahead.
So our agency does allow that.
Okay.
Usually it's when the client logs in, they're going to be given a set of options from FlexPay, like pay 4 payments over 6 months or 12 payments over a year. And usually like
Yeah.
the fees are for the ones that are a little bit longer, the fees are higher than, like the 4 payments,
Right.
6 months one. So it
Interest
really
is higher.
depends.
Yep.
Hmm.
As like any other loan, I kind of silly me did that with my car loan and I know I'm paying more interest that way, but I have 6 years instead of 4 years. So um right here. So in the payment area, you see this from $123 a month. If you actually click on that, it opens up the information for FlexPay. So there's some like FAQs that you can check out. It gives you information on what, how this works and how that, just kind of FAQs. But like I said, that's where you can find more information. The payment request link. This is what you would send the client. So if it's something that they would want to do, click on this link after the reservation is booked and then just email this to them. And then there's a link included, again, where they can either make a payment directly on their booking or they click a link and that's where they fill out the application for FlexPay. So any reservation, just a regular booking, a Groupease booking, or a contracted group booking, they have the ability to do that. All right, so back under that groups drop down, I'm going to now click on the Groupease page. And the bonus hotel discounts. So this is where we're going to see what those promo codes take off. So I mentioned bonus hotels. Those are the ones, those are really the most popular ones. Most Groupease promo codes are issued for bonus hotels. That's where you get the maximum discount. It is based off the total package price. So it's up to $225 off. We give you half of the discount. The hotel actually provides the other half. Sorry about that. So we would give 100, the hotel gives the other 100. If it's not a participating bonus hotel, we are still going to give our half, but the hotel unfortunately doesn't provide anything. So that's why those amounts are about half. And then in order to find out what hotels are participating, right below that, you're just going to want to click on your brand. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Apple Vacations, and it's going to bring us into the VAX page, where you're going to find all of the same information. It's really just the same page, the same information on a different page, because again, this is directly in VAX. And then you're going to see the link where it says download bonus hotel offers. It is an Excel document, so it's going to download, and it's going to probably open on my other screen. So give me 1 second. It's going to ask for a password. So you're just going to click on read only. We don't want anyone editing that. All right. And then you're going to want to zoom in for sure. It's very small. And this grid, again, is going to give you all of the hotels, all of the group inclusions. It's going to tell you the starting number of rooms that are required for those inclusions. So we'll just go through that real quick. The filters are very important. Otherwise, it's really hard to find things on here. So if your group is traveling to, let's do Cancun, probably the most popular. Just unselect everything and just select the destination that they're traveling to. And it's going to just, get rid of everything else on there. And then you can continue to filter it down if they're looking for a specific hotel chain. If you already know the name of the hotel that you're looking for. Starting number of rooms required for group inclusions. I said you need 5 rooms for the promo code, which is true on our end. But there are some hotels that don't start giving you their inclusions until you hit the number that's in this box. So in this case, the Barcelo Allegro Playa car, you're not going to start getting the complimentary items until you hit 10 rooms. You'll still get the promo code if you have between 5 and 9. Hyatt Andaz Mayakoba, they start at 5. So it's really anything between 5 and 9, 10 is what I typically see. Some of these are 6. There are a lot of them that are 5. Maximum group size. Again, a lot of them do say NA, so you can book as many as you want to. Still be mindful of, larger group sizes, but some of them let you go up to 50. I know Iberostar, I believe, is 30. At least they always have been in the past, unless they've changed that. If they have any blackout dates, that just means it's blacked out for group inclusions. They can still travel over those dates, but they're not going to provide any of those group inclusions if they are traveling over any of those blackout dates. So it's typically just holiday travel time. And they got a couple of years listed here. Yeah, I think it's holidays for the next 2 years coming up. And then the group inclusions, all of the fun stuff. So this is going to give you the information on the complimentary rooms, upgrades, how all of that works. What hotel am I on here? Dreams Natura. This is one of the Hyatt Inclusive Collection properties, and they probably have the most complicated one, and I'll show you why. But one of the tips that I always give on this is because there's so much information in this box, the rest of it's hidden. If I double click to view the information and then try to scroll down, it just jumps to the next row. So personally, what I like to do is I just click in the box and copy it. And then I just open up a blank email or like a Microsoft Word document or something and just pop it in there. And it's so much easier to read now. So you've got your group inclusions. We give you the hotel reporting deadlines. So this is just letting you know that 10 or more rooms, we close out at 65 days before travel. Smaller groups of 5 to 9 rooms is 50 days before travel. Complimentary rooms are based on travel season. So during their high season, every 10th room is free. Mid-season is every 8th room, and low season is every 6th room. So during their slowest time of the year, every 6th room, and that's just because they have more availability. So you get a little bit more during those times. And those season details, the dates are provided above. And same thing with complimentary upgrades, it's based on travel season. Private check-in, discount on spa services, welcome amenity for the group leader, cocktail hour, group coordinator, and then there's some terms and conditions. So again, these things will vary from one place to the next, but that's where you find all that information. And I think it's really helpful to, again, sometimes to move the information to a different form to view it. Excel is not always the best for everything. I do love it, but not necessarily for this. The next column where it says RAV, return anniversary stay. I'm guessing you do a lot of wedding groups, seeing as your name has bridal in it. So return anniversary stay is what that stands for. So if your clients are doing a destination wedding at a resort and you see an infinity symbol, let me see if I can find one. When you see that infinity symbol in that column, it means that the resort is going to give them a return voucher for 2 free nights for them to use within 13 months of their wedding date. So it's just another added perk for them. They do have to redeem that directly with the hotel within 13 months, but they will hopefully add some additional nights on with you. You know, most people don't just travel for 2 nights, so there's that opportunity for future business also. And the last one, combinable hotels. If there's any other properties listed in this column, it means that we're able to build the promo code and the clients can book at any of those properties using just the one promo code. So anytime there's like exchange privileges, the Iberostar complex in Riviera Maya is always the first one that comes to mind. There's the Maya, the Beach, the Lindo, and the Joya. And they're all right there in the same resort complex. If you didn't really know any better, you would probably think it was all one hotel. Like they're so, right on top of each other. And a lot of them, they have exchange privileges. Sometimes one way you can't go from you can't go to the Joya, but people at the Joya can go to the other properties. So again, if you have guests that some of them want to stay at the higher level property, but still be able to go visit with their friends and family that are staying at the other properties, just ask for that when we build the promo code. And as long as they're listed under combinable hotels, we can do that. So I know that the Grand Palladiums, the Barcelos, some of the Dreams and Secrets, the El Dorado, there's probably more that I am not mentioning, but they will be listed there on that combinable hotels. It's really it for the grid. As far as how those complimentary rooms work is about 2 weeks after your group travels, the Groupease team will reach out to you and they will let you know that, everything has been completed. As far as your group, say X amount of rooms traveled, which means your group qualified for 2 complimentary rooms. They'll let you know what the value was. So say it was $3,000, and they'll ask you how you want that paid out. And you'll have the option to have that added to your commission, reimbursed back to the client, or you can even have it split. You can say, put 50% back to my commission and put 50% back to the lead traveler, or split amongst multiple travelers, or a 70-30 split. However you want to have that done is up to you as the agency. So again, it's usually about 2 weeks or so after travel is complete. The room upgrades are always based on availability at check-in, so that's nothing that's done in advance. If they qualify, again, say it's 2 complimentary room upgrades, maybe the bride and groom get the one, and then the bride's parents. That's again something they do in the check-in process. Of course, you would want to let the group leader know how many they would qualify for. But again, typically not handled in advance. That is really it for Groupease, though. Again, it's usually considered the easier group, the group option versus contracted groups, but I don't see any other questions in the chat. Does anyone have anything before we move to marketing tools? I'll just pause for a second. Nicole commented saying, this is incredible. It is incredible. I love this grid. I know there's a lot of information on it. And like I said, I know Excel can be a little bit finicky sometimes, but you just gotta use those filters to your advantage. All right, well, let's close this up. I'm gonna go to our marketing tools next. So let me go back to the main ALGV page. Try to. What's going on here? Sorry. It's just spinning. Try a new page. Hmm. Not coming up for me on my other screen either. What is going on? All right, marketing tools. Under the tools drop down on algvacations.com, the first one I want to talk about is called ALGB 360. And this is where we house all of our marketing tools, like our social media stuff, flyers, pre-made posts. There's a ton of stuff in here. So because of that, it's a third-party website. We didn't want to put it all in Vax because it would really probably bog the system down. The very first time that you click on ALGB 360, it's going to have you create a username and password, but it's single sign-on. So if you're logged into Vax or on algvacations.com, after that, once you click on it, it's just going to automatically log you in. So I say that, and it's not going to because I'm in an incognito page because it's working. Hang on one second. There we go. All right, so this is the home page. Once it logs you in, you're just going to select your brand. So you'll see all those tiles down below. We're going to select Apple Vacations. And then you're going to see some additional tiles. So we have current promotions. You're always going to see a social media post along with what we call a pass along flyer for current promotions. Some advisor resources. Anytime we have flyers created for events and things like that, we put them in here. The social posts, I'll pop into that folder because this is probably the most popular. Videos, email templates, digital banners, flyers, print ads, direct mail, not too much in those folders, and branding, if you ever need to use our branding for anything. The social folder, again, probably the most common used area. Any of our sales promotions, anytime we have like a promo code, we're always going to have a social media post kind of involving all of that. We also have destinations, hotels, themes, transfers, and excursions. I know some travel advisors that use this stuff once or twice a week. They just do kind of a random social media post highlighting destinations that they book, some of their favorite hotels, things like that. Excuse me. So you can filter by destination. You can sort by different things if you want to, just recently add it or alphabetize it. But there's, in this case, 9 pages of different destinations. A lot of Mexico Caribbean. The most recently added stuff is a lot of Europe. We've got a lot of recently added Europe. We'll just go ahead and use one of those for the example. They all work the same, regardless of the destination. So you're just going to click on the post that you want to use. The instructions are right at the bottom. So you're going to download the image and save it to your computer. You're going to then upload that to your Instagram or Facebook. And then you have the copy options. So you can copy and paste whichever one you want. Usually there's 2 options. You don't have to use these. If you would rather create your own wording, you can do that. If you'd maybe like just the first sentence, but you don't want the rest of it, you can do whatever you want with all of the stuff that's in here. Keep that in mind. It's really customizable. If you like this image and there's something else you want to do with it that's not related to social media, go for it. So again, do what you want. But those copy options are there along with hashtags. So again, use them all. Use your agency ones, use just a few, whatever you want to do there. And then post it to your Facebook or Instagram. So just really quick, if you are someone that does a lot on social media, just really quick things that you can grab without having to spend a ton of time.
Or get out. What you come in and going? You're coming out or going in?
Oh, I thought so was a question. Go back here. So again, all those destinations, we have hotels in the hotels folder. The promotion ones work exactly the same. Anytime there's a promotion, there's just information on the promotion, when it starts, when it ends. Like the promo code ones will talk about how much money you can take off up to. The videos folder. There's different videos on, again, destinations. You can share these on social media. We have like the travel advisors get you there series. So a lot of cool things in here. I always say with ALGB 360, just click around, just get logged in and just kind of play around in here and see what's available. The other one that can get used somewhat often, really depending on the agency, is the flyers section. So if you are someone that does any kind of live events where you might be face to face with someone that you want to hand something to beside the business card, the flyer section is really great because you can customize any of the flyers in here. So let me just go into the destination folder, for example. Say you're just doing a table at a trade show and you're wanting to talk about honeymoons. You can create like a folder with these, again, with your information customized on the bottom, just highlighting some of the top destinations that you book for honeymoons. Let me see here. these are the destination. I was gonna say, I know we have some that are more like Mexico, Caribbean. So here's a Bahamas one. Um, we've added a lot of Europe materials lately, so that's all what's like at the top. We have some port flyers. So if you have clients that are doing a cruise, here's what we call the Beyond the Port. So if they want to spend a few days in a destination before they do the cruise, it's like the top things to do. Um, let's see, ENVF. If you book any kind of ENVF, we have flyers for those. Um, And then again, I mentioned already that the print ads in the direct mail, there's not usually ever too much in there just because that's a little bit outdated, but that's the main Apple page. And then back on the home page, there's also the images and video section. And this is all unbranded material. So you're not going to see that Apple Vacations logo on there. It's just going to be images and videos that you can use for, again, whatever you want. We have destinations and hotels. And there is no kind of like copyright rules or anything like that. You don't have to ask permission or anything to use any of the stuff that's in here. So it's safe. I've actually heard some crazy stories. Like my very first week on this team on a training, I had an advisor tell me that she was sued in small claims court for using an image from Google that she never thought was going to be a problem. So it apparently happens. You don't have to worry about that with using anything in here. This is a new one. This is really pretty. So just click, you download, and again, use that on whether it's social media, your website, whatever you want to use it for. So tons of images and videos. Again, and they don't have that Apple Vacations logo on them. So that is ALGV 360. That's the first one I wanted to cover with you. And the second one is called Travel Log. So I'm going to go back to the main page. I don't see any questions in the chat on ALGV 360. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the other one. Go back to algvacations.com, and under that tools drop down again is Travel Log. And these are our digital catalogs. So years ago, we used to actually send printed materials to agencies for them to either keep in office for clients to look through or clients could actually take with them. We don't do that anymore. It stopped like right before COVID. It's a lot of, things are constantly changing in the travel industry. If a hotel, say they just do an add-on like Dream Sapphire in Cancun, they just built another edition. So now they have, I think, 100 more rooms. Well, we would have printed materials out there that are outdated. So this way we can constantly update things when they're changing, and makes it a lot easier. From here, click on your brand, and you're going to see all of the destinations that we offer. So there's Europe, Mexico, Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Central America, Hawaii, and Jamaica. And then we have 3 of our preferred partners: Inclusive Collection by Hyatt, Iberostar, and Riu. Weddings. So we have Caribbean, Central America, and Mexico, and groups. The wedding catalogs are really cool. They have a lot of the popular wedding hotels. It goes over the wedding packages that they offer and things like that. The destination ones, if I click on Mexico, it's going to open up smaller catalogs. So it's not like all of Mexico in one catalog. Say you have clients that are looking to go to Riviera Maya. They don't know where they want to stay. This would be a really good place to start. So they just page through like a catalog would. The pages flip. The first few pages are always going to be brand information. So things that Apple offers: ENVF flights, travel protection, groups, Lux. And then it gets into some destination information. So usually 2 or 3 pages on that. And then the hotels. Each hotel has like a fact sheet. So it just goes over all the things that they offer, how many rooms, do they have a swim up bar? Do they have, is it, adults only? How many bars and restaurants? Do they have a kids club? So all of that information, and I know it's really tiny. A lot of them also have these, what we call carousels. So the circles that move on the page, you can click on and you can view some additional photos. Usually there's more than one. I don't know if it's just not loading. Some of them even have videos. So this one has got a video that you can watch. So you can send this link to a client. It's not attached to Vax, so they can actually just view this without having any kind of Vax login. But it's not necessarily something we suggest. When you have a client that doesn't know where they want to stay, sending them a 92-page catalog in this case may not be very helpful. It, potentially could feel a little bit overwhelming. So what you can do actually is customize the pages that you send. You would click on the download icon on the bottom right-hand corner. Find the hotels that you want to suggest first, of course, and write down the page numbers. And then click on the download icon on the bottom right corner. And it's going to open this up as a PDF. And then you're going to click on the printer icon. And you're not printing it, but you're going to choose as the destination, save as a PDF. And then for the pages, you're going to click on custom. So maybe you want to include those first couple pages, pages 1 through 9. And then the hotels that were on pages 26, 32, and 58. So now you have those first pages with the information, the destination. You've got the Grand Hyatt Playa del Carmen, the Hyatt Ziva, and the Desire Riviera Maya. So maybe you just want to give them those 3 hotel options. It makes it a little bit easier for them to pick. Save this, send it to them as an attachment, and hopefully they can make their decision. We actually had some travel advisors that have told us that they pre-saved these. So if they constantly have clients come to them and ask for their top suggestions for, like, what are your favorite places for adults only in Cancun? What are your top places for adults only in Riviera Maya and Punta Cana? Save those, like pre-select them, save them in a folder somewhere. So when you have someone that asks you for that, all you have to do is grab it and send it off to them. Family-friendly options in those top destinations. Your top places for honeymoons, any of those type of things. Just pre-save them, and it just saves you so much time in the long run. Yes, it's going to take you a little bit of time to go through them all and do that in the first place, but I think it's a great tool to have. It's giving them extra information. So by you sending this to them, it hopefully avoids them having to go to Google, where they could potentially end up on someone else's website and book elsewhere. So giving them all that extra information, again, hopefully prevents that. I'm not sure if you guys book a lot of Europe or any Europe, but the Europe ones are a little bit different. We currently have 10 destinations. They are adding Iceland really soon. I'm excited for that one. But Italy, for example, same concept in the beginning of these, where it's, again, kind of brand information. We do a lot of Viator features over in Europe. So there's information on Viator. We also have curated itineraries. So in the Europe ones, people aren't doing all-inclusives, with a few exceptions. There are definitely some all-inclusives over there, but more people are doing, visiting different cities and doing a little bit more adventurous things. So we have some curated itineraries. So here is a 7-day Italy, starting in Rome, going to Naples, Palermo, Catania, and then returning back home. So it's just like kind of a setup of doing different tours and things that you can see all in one day. It's just a really good starting point if you have clients that are going there and you've maybe never really booked it before. And then here are some of the top picks for Rome for hotels. Again, because they're not all inclusive, there's not as much detail, so the pages are set up a little bit different. And then some of the top tours in Rome, and then it gets into a 5-day just Rome itinerary, not going on to other cities. And then Florence, I think Venice is in here, Naples, so it's a lot of different cities all wrapped up into the one catalog. So again, that's how the Europe ones are set up a little bit different. And then weddings, these ones again have wedding package information. So let's kind of scoot to one of those pages. Here's Hard Rock, for example. So these are some of the wedding packages that they offer at Hard Rock Punta Cana. There's information on the Hard Rock itself. Here's Dreams. So Iberostar. Yep. If you do weddings at, destination weddings at any of these properties, or if you have clients that are interested in, again, these are a really good starting point if you have those inquiries. Question about, are we allowed to post pages of this on our websites? I believe so. It's a public link, so I don't think there's any reason that would be not allowed. So I would say yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to double check with our marketing team, and if there any reason they say no, Nicole, I will let you know. But I am like fairly confident that it is a yes. So, that's it really for travel log, and I don't have anything else to show you guys. So we again have a little bit of extra time if anyone has any questions, whether it's related to today's topics or not, because again, this was your final training. So I want to make sure that if anyone has any other questions related to Apple, that I address any other questions too. Question, Nicole said, can you recap how to start with ALG? Nicole, I might need you to clarify on. Getting the login that the agency sets up the login. You guys have to set up each advisor's login.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm going to jump right in and say, guys, if you want access to ALG, we will set that up for you. So don't go trying to like set up a new agency. Logging in, and we'll issue your credentials, and then you'll have access to all of these tools.
Yes, new Vax registration. If you go to Vax and click to register, that's for saying I'm the agency owner. Yep. So if you don't already have a Vax username, yep, the agency will get you that username. Corliss asked, will the trainings be available for future reference? Nicole, I will let you answer that too.
Yes, the other trainings were recorded and they'll be up on the website, which is being redone. You'll notice it in about maybe 10 days. If you would like it sooner, just send me an email at travel@abcweddingplanners.com.
All right, there were 2 questions on that. So we got both of those. That's it for questions.
I think everyone is just stunned at the amount of tools that we have access to. Like I was saying in the chat before, when we do this kind of manually, we have to reach out to every property. So that one Excel sheet for Groupease really like takes so much, gives us back so much of our time that we spend emailing people. And Kim, if they have questions in the future, who should they reach out to?
If you typically what we say is when an agency has questions regarding like the product and things like that, if they can just field the questions all through one person and you can send them to us at the implementation email. Um, that's typically what works best, is to just field everything through you, and you can always reach out to us or to your BDM. Which, you know
Wonderful.
what, now that I mentioned that, John just retired. I don't know if you got that memo, John, your BDM, he retired. So
Yes.
his position being in Florida, I know will be filled very quickly. So I imagine someone will be replacing him, probably by the end of the year, I would imagine. But we reach out to us in the meantime.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
And Kim, if there was one thing that they could do today to start promoting ALG, something simple, what do you think that would be?
To start promoting ALG, or to start to get, like more up to speed on it?
I would say like start promoting that they can sell through ALG. Would it be like, for example, doing some of like the social media posts? Um, is there like a ALG specialist course? How can they start advertising to their clients that they can book through ALG?
I would definitely start with those social media posts in ALGB 360, probably the promotions, um, maybe even like your top destinations that you love to sell, grab some of those posts. But if you have not already done ALGV Pro, that would be my other like huge recommendation, would be to do ALGV Pro. Under the tools drop down, it's the second one down, and that is it's the learning management tool. And I know this isn't this is this isn't like letting your clients know that you can book with us, but there's also tools in here. It kind of goes beyond what we've taught you in these 3 training sessions. Um, just click on begin certification. It's like you do little videos, you take little quizzes at the end, and you get the certification when you're done. There's more marketing information in there. There's so much more than what we've taught you in those 3 live training sessions. But the perk of this is that at the end of that, when you're certified, you are now qualified to be invited on fam trips when we offer them. You're qualified to win prize giveaways. So when we do random hotel stay giveaways, waypoint giveaways, any kind of prizes, you have to have that certification to be qualified to win. To be invited to Ascend, which is next week already, our annual Ascend conference. So again, you have to have the certification to be qualified for any of those things, which is just a bonus on top of having the knowledge. We've got advisors that have been booking with us. I think when this first came out 3 years ago, we had an advisor that said, I've been booking with you guys for 25 years and I did not even know everything that I just learned when I did the course. And I was like, what? Like that just felt crazy to me. So that is, I think the very top thing to do is ALGB Pro. And once you have that knowledge, a lot of the other stuff that comes along with that on how to promote and how to use those posts and all of that extra stuff is really going to come along with that. So you do have to have an account to do ALGB Pro, yes. If you don't already, Nicole put the email in the chat, travel at abcweddingplanners.com to get a Vax login to access that. But again, if you haven't booked anything with any of our brands, I definitely suggest going through the certification first.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kim. So everyone, don't forget, if you don't already have a login, email me, travel at abcweddingplanners.com for access. Then you can get started doing your ALGV Pro Specialist program and have access to everything else we've talked about today, the Groupease and all of the marketing. And if there's no more questions, I will let everyone go. Thank you so much again, Kim, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Take care, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.